It's just that it actually was driven by many good news. We're getting a lot of good news, new achievements by many other groups in K-pop that are making waves in the US, right? Like for example, ATEEZ, I think they had their first stadium show, didn't they? They sold out their first stadium show. And I'm so happy for them. They're so hardworking. They deserve this, and it's for coming from a small company, it's a new win. I always love it when groups from smaller companies are actually able to make a lot of headways, because that the more spread out the power is, the better for the industry. So that's one. And second, I'm sorry, but I feel like this is a good sign, because this is something that Big Hit started. When they managed to launch BTS as a global group, it showed everybody that, hey, you can do the same thing, right? It's possible for you to come from nothing. They were all they were almost bankrupt, and they were actually bankrupt, not almost, and they managed to create BTS. So it's the same thing for any other group from the smaller agencies. It's a sign that it's possible for them to achieve something great. And then of course you have Stray Kids, who get very not as much support from JYP because they're self-produced, and they are breaking records in Europe. My God, the amount of people they're pulling in their concerts, that these achievements really make me happy. And I hope, and I surely hope that many other groups will follow them. So I'm always cheering for those small ones, because that's good for the industry. And so when all of those news hit the headlines, I just thought like, what if many groups, if many K-pop groups are actually making waves internationally? Is this noise that NewJeans and Minhee Jin are creating actually worth anything? Is it oh yes, the Rose is also on tour, and they're also selling out their venues. Although it's funny thing about the Rose, they said that they kind of regret. Well, not that they regret. It's just that a lot of their fans kind of complain that the venues are too small. And they said the Rose actually explained that they decided to go smaller because they wanted to bring back the intimacy of the performance that they used to do. So but that ended up a lot, well, that caused a lot of fans to not be able to get tickets because the venues are smaller. So this, again, these are good signs, these are great signs. And so with all of those backdrop, I'm just starting to, and not only that, sorry, I keep on interrupting, but even the success of K-pop Demon Hunters, uh the they're going to create um, a live action version of that, right? And so again, that's a sign that, okay, it's moving forward. This genre is moving forward, and that's great, because that's going to give a lot of people opportunities to fulfill their dreams, a lot of employment for a lot of people. And so with all of these things that are happening, success that we only imagined when it was first gen, second gen groups, is this noise that's being created by Minhee Jin and New Jeans really worth anything? Is it really impacting anybody outside of the HYBE lawyers earning more? And the answer is that it's not. Because if it has any effect, the industry is going to be on a stagnant. It's not. It's moving forward in incredible phase. It's so fast. As I've said, a lot of groups are actually making waves, not just in the US, but in Europe, in other parts of Asia, even in Oceania. Is that the right pronunciation? Okay, some new developments. So Team Bunnies apparently released some information. These are police investigation information. So the result of the police investigation, they released it. And supposedly the only people that should have a copy of that would be the legal team of NewJeans and NewJeans themselves. So the question is, how did you get a copy of this? And even worse, when you released the copy, you didn't really block the names of people that are involved, and someone actually forwarded that. So someone filed a complaint against them, asking for an investigation, because how did this group manage to get a hold of confidential information from the police? So that's one development. um, Next is the other major development is that New Jeans now is claiming that they were the ones who asked Min Hee Jin to file a complaint in relation to the plagiarism, which is, they are using it in the wrong way, plagiarism and all of those stuff. They're saying that it wasn't Min Hee Jin's idea, it was us, and we asked her to file a complaint. So someone actually messaged me asking, "Do you believe that it was actually their idea?" I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because that's what they're claiming. That's what they told the court. Now, of course, you shouldn't lie to the court. That's perjury. So we're gonna have to assume, unfortunately, that they are telling the truth. Now, did I think that they are just saying this to cover up for Min Hee Jin? Sure, quite. That's just to be honest. I do think that they said it just because they want to cover her ass. But that if that is the case, then number one, this is a new level. This is a new level of loyalty to Min Hee Jin. And second is that that really changes how you will look at them. Because if they, number one, if they were the ones who actually told Min Hee Jin they're plagiarizing us, the first step, if you are a mature CEO, the first step is to sit down with the girls and explain to them, okay, these are the stuff that you think they plagiarized. Um, and this is why you're wrong. Because remember, copying is different from plagiarism. Plagiarism involves the person being copied having legal ownership of what is being copied. So that's clear. That's the only time there is plagiarism. If the person claiming to be copied has legal ownership of that. So that's the first level of plagiarism. The second level of plagiarism is if the person who copied benefited from it in one way or another. Most of the time, when you're going to take it to court, you have to prove that you benefited from that economically. Then that is plagiarism. Everything else, almost everything else, is fair use. Okay. So if that is the case, if the girls went to Min Hee Jin to say they plagiarized us, her first responsibility is to actually educate the girls and tell them, okay, this is plagiarism. This is what plagiarism is. That's one. Second is that the truth, she should have explained that all of these choreographies, all of this styling, I wasn't the one who created this. All of this already existed before we used it. Cat Daddy, that is a very popular choreography. One of the most, I would say Cat Daddy is actually the it's one of the most popular step routine ever created in the East, in the Bronx. So for them, so that did not originate from Min Hee Jin. So that was her responsibility to explain to the girls, it, we did not create this. Before us, there were other hundreds of other people who already used it, and this was already popularized by the creators themselves. Right? Then it doesn't absolve her from the fault. It means that she was a irresponsible CEO. How could you not have explained to the five girls that all the things that you're complaining about, that they plagiarized, you don't own anyway? So that's a separate level of argument. And that should be grounds further for her to get fired. Because if you cannot sit down with your talents, with your artists, to explain to them these things, these very young talents under you, then you're not fit to become a CEO. Okay. So that's the main problem with this argument. If they are claiming that they were the ones who went to Min Hee Jin and told her they are plagiarizing us, it should have been her responsibility to explain. If she didn't do that, that means she failed. I don't know if the girls are aware of it though. I don't know if they will listen. I think at this stage, they're either just trying to get her off the hook, make sure that all the blame, everything, that everything, yeah, all the faults, all the blames, it will come back to them, because then they will get more sympathy, right? Because they are young and they have a lot of fans. Now, do I believe that? I don't, but it doesn't matter at this stage. The only thing that matters is that they went on record, went to the court, and are legally claiming they were the ones who started this complaint. If they are lying, that's perjury. So we cannot, they shouldn't, we have to assume that they're telling the truth, because the alternative is worse. The alternative is that they are committing perjury, and that they can go to jail for. Let's step back a little bit. How is it affecting HYBE or Adore? Groups managed by the labels under Adore, sorry, under HYBE, are actually on tour and they're selling out their venues. Le Seraphim, TXT, um, uh, and Hypen, and then, well, Eyelit doesn't have enough, so they'll probably do a mini tour very soon. And of course, we have BTS very, very soon following. So obviously the groups under HYBE are not getting affected. So they're still earning, and they're earning in the best way possible because they're touring, and that's where the money is actually at. TXT just released their new album, and then HYBE's expansion actually continues. They're buying companies, they're expanding to different regions. So they have India, as you know, they just put up a branch in India. uh, this year they opened a branch in Latin America. They're probably going to do something in Australia very, very soon. So the expansion is actually continuing. So that, they don't have any effect on that. And the thing is that if they're able to expand in countries like India, like Latin America, that means they had enough money to begin with to set up the office, to set up the company. And then after that, that means that they have enough to show the banks in those countries to file a loan, because no company will ever allow you to set up, no company will allow you, no country, sorry, no company will ever operate a company on cash. Everybody files a loan. That's just the truth. You just need to file a loan. So, especially if it's that big of an operation. And for you to file a loan, you need to show proof that you're a company that can pay it off. So, from the eyes of the banks, of all of these banks that are lending them money, they're still good. Daddy Yankee, yeah, I know, for Latin America. Okay, so we know that Daddy Yankee actually went to the HYBE office in South Korea. Let's see what he's going to be doing, because I know that he retired, right? Okay, and then in terms of global headlines in the media, it's still the BTS comeback that's dominating. I mean, blink and you'll see like 10 new articles about their comeback. Sometimes it's the same narrative being read over and written about over and over again, but they don't care, but because they're still getting clicks when it is BTS. And HYBE has satellite offices in almost every region now. They dissolved that in South Korea. They will have no problem operating from the US, from Europe, from whatever country they choose to operate on. So who are they really? Obviously, it does not affect HYBE. Sure, it's getting, the most likely the lawyers are actually having a field day right now. They're getting paid a lot with all the lawsuits that they're actually handling. But other than that, but I mean, that's an expectation in any company. You get a lot of lawsuits, especially if you become as big as that. K-pop groups. Now, from the perspective of K-pop groups like Twice, Blackpink, at 80s, Stray Kids, all of them are touring and all of them are breaking records. They're selling out their stadiums, they're selling out their venues, they're doing well. So that means that whatever is happening with NewJeans and whatever is happening with Min Hee Jin and Adore and HYBE, it's not affecting HYBE, it's not affecting the K-pop industry. So who is it affecting? It's just really NewJeans. NewJeans is absolving Min Hee Jin of all of her faults. They're taking all the blame. They're saying that everything originated from them. So they are the only ones that are unable to work. Everyone else is going about their lives. They're going about their careers. They are the only ones that are not able to do any kind of work. You have new groups launching every second and every minute in South Korea. You have Meow, you have All Day Project, you have all of these new groups are coming up. They are unaffected. So all of this chatter, if you really look at it, all of this chatter, it really doesn't matter. It has no effect on the grand scheme of things. So all of this illusion that things are going to change, that this has to be, it's just an illusion. These are just people trying to make themselves feel important, as if whatever is happening in this very, very small case actually affects the industry, when the numbers clearly states that no, it has no effect on the industry. And that only makes my heart goes out even more for NewJeans, because at the end of the day, it's their career that's going to get destroyed if they don't figure this entire thing out. No matter, the truth is that no matter this decision, things are going to continue. High, even if the court sides with them, HYBE is just going to be stricter with their contracts. That's what's going to happen. I'm sure that their CEOs, they've already revised those contracts so that it is stricter. I'm sure that they will never provide the kind of privileges that they've provided Min Hee Jin, no matter the condition. I'm sure that they've learned their lesson, and now that contract is just going to be stricter and rolled down to all other artists, and all other agencies will do the same thing, because they don't want the same thing happen to them. Doesn't matter the agency, YG, SM Entertainment, JYP, the smaller ones, they're gonna look at this and they're gonna say, nah, that's not gonna happen to us. So we're just going to make the contract stricter. That's the only thing that will happen. And I hope NewJeans actually realizes that, because they're the ones that are the only entity in this entire thing that's losing. The only thing that HYBE is losing is money, because they're paying a lot to their lawyers.